Today we got Trea in the house. He was one of the top agents doing Medicare and the top agents in Legacy Peace of Mind. I mean, pretty impressive what you did. You did a shitload of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, we had him on a couple weeks ago, and, we just wanted to know a little bit more, dive a little deeper into
the person.
Let's go. I'm excited to be here.
We always like to know we always like to know the person behind the business. So we always preach that for the business that we work. It's like people want to know who really is the person behind the business. Yeah. So for you, how did you get really connected into the Medicare, or why even Medicare?
I had a buddy that had talked about it at one of my previous businesses. He started bringing it up, said that he started his sales career in Medicare, and he told me about all the positive sides of Medicare. And I mean, since then I was always curious, but in a sense too scared to take the leap in to go all in on Medicare. I'd gone into other stuff before, but then essentially my back was up against the wall with my previous business, and I was like, let's figure out more about Medicare. So I had him kind of interviewing companies, getting me in touch with them, getting on a Zoom call and things like that, and that's how we found Joshua and Legacy Peace of Mind.
Why? I'm just curious, why did you decide to start doing your own thing instead of doing the regular 9-to-5 corporate?
Because you just turned 24, right?
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah, so most people, you're like, they wouldn't have. You've experienced a lot of things in your 24 years.
Yeah.
So why? Because most people would be like, let me just go to college and live the corporate life and just chill.
I don't know. I think because my family came from oil field and all of that, and so in a sense, all I grew up with was mines, oil field, stuff like that. But I also never wanted to hear your dad paved the way for you, your grandpa did, your brother did, because I have an older brother as well. I never wanted to hear they paved the way, they were handed it to you, and I figured the only way to get away from that is with sales. Otherwise, I would have to go to college, and that wasn't happening. So I was sales is.
Why sales though?
Because I got sold on the social media side of it, the flashy cars, the stuff like that, the big houses, the flashy cars, the yachts, this is the lifestyle, and everything revolved around sales.
But when you went into it, was it actually that? Because sometimes I think social media to an extent is like a facade. Let me just.
It was not that.
Let me build all this up, and then you go and they rent to the car. You're like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Let me just front it for the camera.
Yeah. To start out, it was not all that. It really wasn't. My first office for insurance, there's people living in the office full time, didn't have nowhere else to stay. We're living in their cars in the office, and I mean. In a sense, I look at it that's some hustle right there. And I was like, holy cow, it ain't all sunshine and rainbows. You might have a Lamborghini outside, but you're living in the office. But they don't show that side of it, right? They don't show the going through the hustle, the build-up, the everything like that. They just show you the Lamborghinis, the going out to dinner and dropping $500 to $1,000 a night on one steak dinner. They show that. You have to get into behind the scenes to realize what's going on.
Do you think that helped you when you're starting off like that? Because to an extent, we talk about it. Me and Erick talk about it a lot. You have to have that delusion a little bit of fuck yeah, I can go do it. Once you're, because now if you realize all the stuff that you went into, you're probably I don't know if I would have done it. It's pretty crazy.
Or think a little bit about it before you actually dive into it. Once you actually see it's not just the flashy cars, the flashy watches or anything. You actually have to sleep in the office, long nights, long days, and bust your ass to actually get after it.
I mean. To be honest, if I had to live it all again, I would. I would do it all over again. Just for the fact, how much, real life experiences I've learned. I've lived and I've traveled majority of the country. I've lived in Illinois, I've lived in Nebraska, I've lived in Colorado, I've lived in Texas. I sold in almost every state there was when I was doing door-to-door sales. I've done so much and learned so much about, life and how to, I guess, communicate with every single type of person in the country that it's to me, I have a skill that you can't go to college to buy. Money can't buy real human interaction.
Yeah.
Regardless of the courses and this and that, it's that's not real. That's just you're watching a video. You're not getting no real life experience. And then to me, I've experienced every single part of sales possible.
Yeah, you got to learn how to sell. Sales is everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think about it that way, too, until you start going deeper. But sales is everything. You got to be able to sell the product. Mostly, you got to be able to sell yourself.
Exactly. Because 9 times out of 10, they're not buying the product. They're buying you.
What was the biggest learning experience that you had door to door?
Learning how to sell. I was terrible. Terrible. Couldn't do it. Like, I think I didn't get my first one for, like, the first month and a half or 2 months being out there. Like, I was one of the top guys at my first sales job. I was selling, like, health supplements over the phone. Top guy there, and I was like, I want more. Got into door-to-door, and basically I went from consistent paychecks to no paycheck for, like, literally a month and a half, 2 months. So, I mean, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done because it's not something that you can teach to somebody. Like, you can't, I could have gone on the door and said the exact same thing that my mentor at the time was, but he could have made the sale and I couldn't. Because a lot of it, and what I learned was, it's a lot of the way you carry yourself and the attention that you pay to the client at the time and what's going on in front of you versus anything else.
Self-confidence.
Yeah, for sure.
That thing bleeds. Like, you think, oh, they couldn't tell. Oh, they can tell.
They could tell. They can sense it. They can sense it for sure.
Even by like, the way you ring the doorbell, they're probably like, oh, it's this guy.
Yeah, or like the way you knock on the door. Like, the way I was taught to knock on a door wasn't like it's like knock on the door like you're the police. Like, you're there for a reason. That's my job. Because if you act weird about it, it's going to be weird to the client. Like, why is this guy tapping on my door? It's like, no, like, knock with some confidence. Like, this is my job and I'm here for a reason. Like, it's only weird if you make it weird. If I'm here for a reason, what are you going to say? Like, if I'm talking stern and confident in what I'm saying, it comes off across a lot different than, hey, I'm the neighborhood guy. You know what I mean? Like, it's confidence all the way.
Yeah. And you position yourself like the person, the professional, the authority. Like, hey, this is what it is, and you might be full of it or not, but you sound like you're legit. So now it just sets you apart.
Especially if you like, want to go into your own thing, like have your own business, you either have to be really good at sales or partner up with someone who's better at you than sales.
Exactly.
And that was interesting what you're saying at the beginning, though. That you had like you grew up like in a blue collar family, like in the oil fields and stuff, and you didn't want to be associated, or not associated, but you didn't want to be like, oh, like, I got this because of my parents or whatever.
Yeah.
Like we were in a similar situation. Like our parents, they had a business in downtown Fort Morgan for over 20 years, selling clothes and all that stuff. But I'm curious, is there something that you learned from your dad or from your family that sticks with you today?
I mean, work hard. As long as I'm outworking the next guy, I'm always moving up. Like, that was the biggest thing. Like, my dad was in the oil field, so he was like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off my whole life. And, like, I don't think in my entire existence he's taken any days off. Like, he ain't sick. He ain't coming up stuff, like, schedule on his days off. Because he's like, it's like, he ain't going to give up to the next guy. So it's like, just outwork everybody. So I'd say, like, the drive of just working as hard as possible, that's what, like, I think sets me aside.
Yeah, there's a quote that I like. It says, hard work outworks talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Yeah, that's like a wrestling quote.
And then there's a friend of ours that we know. He says, what's going to happen when talent works hard?
Exactly.
You know, that was Joshua.
Yeah,
that's what he told me. I was like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah, that's when it changes the game.
Yeah, that's like it's another. There's always another level to the game.
Exactly.
And it's also like not having that like victim mentality.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
We were having a conversation a while back, but it's like it doesn't matter like where you come from or your background or anything. Like when you show up in front of your client, or if you show up in front of a door or whatever, like they're looking at you. Yeah. They're not looking at your past. Like
exactly.
Your past does not matter. Like nobody cares.
Exactly.
Like you got to show up and this is who you are today.
Exactly.
And then move from there. Like nothing that happened in your past should affect you and how you move forward. Or you can't just dwell on the past and be
like you can't.
Oh, like I had a shitty past, so like this is why I'm a shit.
A big thing that I run into in like the sales world and everything is everybody tries to live off past victories. Like everybody wants to be like, I did this or I did that or I did. Yeah, you did it. Why aren't you doing it if you did it? You know what I mean? To where it's like it really comes down to like you did it, forget about it, start from ground zero and see what you can do again. And I feel like that's one, like what has always kept me going is like I could have easily lived off my past victories, my past businesses, and how fast I've grown and how far I grew within a short amount of time. But like realistically, that's just a player stat. Like it's just a stat that I can, hey, I said this can happen, but now I'm going to show up and I'm going to do it again for you.
What are some of those past victories? Because I mean, you're doing pretty good. You had a couple of nice vehicles, a couple of toys.
I'd say
Tell me some of those.
I'd say growing as fast as I did. At my first company, I became in the top, like door to door. I sucked from from the bottom to top 1% of the industry within a year's time. And then my second one was how fast I grew in my first insurance company. It took most people about 2 to 3 years to get what I did in 6 months. To where my next sales company, I did the same thing again. I showed up and I just didn't live off of, hey, I did this before, can you help me out? Like, I just did the same thing over and over and over until I got to the right spot.
How is it being like the new young guy in like that industry or in that new like business, and then having like all the older people probably like looking at you like, who the fuck is this guy?
Well, I love it. I love like the criticism and like having them talk to me, and it's just like the average agent in Medicare is like 30 or 50. Like it's up there. It's not like somebody in their 20s is getting into it, which is beyond me, because after every opportunity of sales I've done, I would choose Medicare over every one of them for the long-term effect, because it's not getting sold on a dream anymore. Now it's like this is real life now. This is reality. It's not just a dream and seeing somebody else do it. It's like, yo, it's easy to do. Like it's not some reinvent the wheel type of a situation.
Well, like when you're going on to someone, I'm just curious. Because you go, like you said, the average person like 30 to 50. So they have this young gun. They don't like it. I'm just telling you because I had so when I was in welding,
yeah.
like, I mean, most of them were like 40, 50 years old, you know, and I'm freaking 22, you know, when I'm coming on, they don't like that shit. I'm like, well, daddy's about to show you how we do it.
That's
you know?
exactly it.
And, you know, and I would kick their ass.
Exactly.
And they would hate it.
Yeah.
And then they'd be like, get this guy out of here. So then everybody would hate you. So they kind of try to like get you out of there as fast as possible.
Yeah.
But if you want to be successful, you have to kind of go in there with that attitude. You can't just be in there like, oh, no, yes, sir, no, sir.
Exactly.
You have to come in here like,
I'm the guy.
Daddy's
like,
here.
I'm the guy. And that's just the mentality I've always had. Like, I'm not going to walk in and bow down just because this dude is doing better than me. But, like, he has all this experience. Why does that matter, realistically, when it comes down to, like, just working hard? But, yeah, the people... in sales, they're always like, oh, he's doing something bad. He's not doing things right. He's not doing this. When it's really, it's like, no, it's just, in my situation, I just outwork them. I just put in more hours. Like a lot of people that I've seen in the Medicare world aren't willing to give up Sundays. They aren't willing to give up Saturdays. They aren't willing to give up 12 to 18 hours a day to get these goals. They think these goals in their mind are unrealistic, or this can't happen, or this and this. And it's like, that's made up. I just proved it.
Yeah, I heard a thing from a guy. He's talking about like, if you really want to achieve X goal, you know, he's like, write all the things that you're willing to do, and then write the stuff that you're not willing to do.
Exactly.
He's like, all the stuff that you said that you're not willing to do, the guy that's willing to kick your ass, he's willing to do risk all those things too.
Yes, and that's a big thing.
That's huge, because then it kind of messes with you mentally. He's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this guy. Wait, the guy that's gonna kick me. He's willing to do everything.
Yeah, I did. That's me. I did it. Like a lot of the people that that I've been having meetings with, like after they find out my numbers and everything, it's like what I did is crazy for like the Medicare world, but at the same time, it's just like once I break down my schedule and like the amount of work that I put in, they're like, oh yeah, I'm not willing to give up time with my family. Oh, I'm not willing to give up Thanksgiving. I'm not, and I'm just like, okay, exactly what you're saying. Just write everything you're not willing to do down, and I'll let you know I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna work 11 to. If I'm up at midnight, I'm working the leads. I'm just a machine. I won't stop, whether it's 7 a.m. or midnight, or if I'm up at 3 a.m. I'm working the leads as they're coming in. That's what's setting me aside.
Give people context. When we're talking Medicare numbers and all this, give people context, like how much apps you got to like revenue, like what does that look like, so people like they can like physically digest, like I guess mentally digest. I mean, like how much apps you get.
The average agent, everything I've been told, the average Medicare agent does 10 in a year. So 365, they do 10. I did 565 in 54 days.
How much is that a day, roughly? 14, 15?
Yeah.
Get the calculator.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
14 something, right?
54.
Somewhere.
10. 10.4. But like
A day.
yeah. So a big crazy part is, like I said, and to me it's not that crazy because I was raised to like not take days off, like work through the sickness, work through the shit storm. Like if your life isn't going the way you want it, work so it is the way you want it, you know? And so like that's, like I said, what set me aside is like I, just like you said, I was willing to do what they weren't. I didn't care about spending Thanksgiving with my family. I cared about unscrewing my life, basically.
And if you might be asking, how's your family, your girlfriend feel about it? Because if you're hustling, that means you're spending less time with them. So
They hate it.
They hate
They
it?
ain't ever gonna support it. They ain't never. But at the same time, like, as much as like I'm getting sold on the dream and I'm selling myself on the future, it just comes into like duplicating that into her. Like, yes, this sucks right now. 12 to 18 hour days suck right now. But imagine in 5 years, regardless, we're in our 20s. So I'm like, you can't tell me that I can't work in my 20s. Like, I don't want to take vacation for the next 5 years. I want to lock in and build something that hasn't been done in the next 5 years, because then when that sellout hits, you're going to be like, thanks, Papa Trey. Thanks for putting in the work. You know what I mean? It's not going to be like, oh, I'm regretting this last 5 years. Like, I don't have kids. I have a girl, but at the end of the day, I don't have kids or anything like that. So I'm willing to give up whatever I have to get to where I want to.
But I would even argue like that's a great point. But then there's a lot of people that say, I can go do it now because I don't have kids and stuff. And then other people will be like, I can't do it now because I have kids. I think people are always going to be full of shit and full of excuses.
Yeah.
Because like me personally, if I didn't have kids, I'll tell you right now, I don't think I'd be doing the stuff I'm doing.
Right.
Because there's a different motivator of what it is.
And I think that's the most important thing when you're becoming any entrepreneur job is find your why. What's your why? Why are you willing to go 12 to 18-hour days? Why are you willing to work when it's dark outside and it's Christmas Eve or Christmas Day? Why are you willing to show up in the office that day? Like, what is your why? My why was like, I was broke. Like, I didn't have, and I'm not going to live broke. So, like, in that situation, it was just like, this is my only option. Like, you can't have and a lot of entrepreneurs that I've seen always have a plan B. Everybody has a plan B, or, I'm saving this opportunity, or like, I'll get back to you, and like, they have that mentality. And it's like, you can't have that if you want to grow something.
It's a loser mentality.
Like, this is my dream, but just in case my dream doesn't work
Yes.
out, I have this. Which, I mean, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, if it really was your dream, then why don't you just
go
all in
with it that you have a plan B?
Mm-hmm. Or if it really was your dream, why did you wait 10, 15 years to get started?
Yeah.
Imagine if you would have started working 10, 15 years ago.
Exactly.
Where would you be at today? It's like, dude, people would just...
They're afraid of other people's opinion.
That's a big thing.
That's what we were talking about earlier. It's like coming from the Hispanic community, you expect everybody to support you. But then they support you to a certain extent until you start doing better than them. Then it's like the crabs in a bucket.
Yeah.
They don't want you to see...
Nobody wants to see you win.
They don't want to see you win.
Like, it's
so they'll pull you back down.
Very rare to get around somebody that wants to see you win. They want to see you be average on their team to basically keep growing their business or whatever. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to see you do, in a sense, better than them or...
They want to see you do good, but not a little bit better than them.
Yeah.
That's, you got to kind of keep them tucked away. But then I guess the counter argument with that, I don't know what you guys think, would be like, fuck that, find better friends.
I mean, in a sense, but like in a mentorship opportunity, like, for example, in a sales opportunity, like all it takes is for them to pull the plug. Oh, this dude is starting to do better than me. We're just going to cut everything off. And that's not right.
So what'd you see in Joshua, like when you joined Legacy Peace of Mind?
I mean, with having my past and like how, like all the mentors I've had, and I've had a lot of great mentors and I've had bad mentors, and meeting Josh, it was just like I said on the last one, it was just like we connected different. Like, I almost felt like I knew this dude my whole life. Like, it was like we had the same vision. We had the same mindset. We had, like, there's two peas in a pod in a sense. Like, it was like there was no difference there. So, like, honestly, I just put all my trust into it. Didn't have a plan B, and I was like, if this don't work, then...
See what happens.
Yeah. Like,
figure it out then.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's always what I've done. Like, I could have easily sat in Utah and second-guessed moving out to Fort Morgan. Like, I had a house in Utah, like, lived in a nice neighborhood. I could have easily settled and been average, but instead I was like, you know what, I'm I'm willing to sacrifice everything. I'll move 5 to 10 hours away from my family, my friends, into this tiny town because I'm like I said, I'm in my 20s and I'm willing to do what most people aren't.
You think that was beneficial, like moving completely away from there instead of, let's say you have all these opportunities where you used to live compared to having those opportunities like where you're now, like you're in Morgan. Like, do you think it would have turned out the same?
No, I don't think I could have done it around my friends and family because, like, when you're around friends and family, they give you the benefit of the doubt. Like, you could work an 8-hour day and they're like, Trey, you're working so hard. You're doing so great. No.
Got it, champ.
Give me the hard shit. Mm-hmm. Tell me I'm not working hard enough. Tell me that, if you want to make this happen, it's 12 to 18-hour days. Like, get your ass up and go to work. Mm-hmm. But, like, when you're around your friends and family, it's like, nah, man, you're working hard. Keep it up. Keep doing that. Mm-hmm. No, it ain't sunshine and rainbows. It's hard.
That's something we talk about too. Is like, if you've never left your hometown, that's the first thing you got to do. Is like leave your hometown for sure. Kind of get away from everything. And even better if you can just go somewhere else where you have like, where you know nobody. Because that's literally gonna just put you out on a limb, and you're gonna figure out who you are, get some like clarity. And that's, like, away from all the negativity or all the bullshit, and then you're just out there. Okay, I want to do this. Let me actually work at it. Yeah. And then you kind of have that silence. And
to get back on that, I've moved just about every 6 months for the past, I think, 2 or 3 years. Every 6 months, different states, different cities, everything. Like, I was born and raised in Green River, Wyoming. Green River, Rock Springs, Wyoming. I'm not sure if you know where that is. It's similar to Morgan, but basically Wyoming versus Colorado. Same size in a sense, similar.
Morgan's like 10x better, probably, but yeah.
And in that situation, like, I left my hometown, moved to Colorado. Then I was like, hey, like, I don't remember where I heard it for the first time, but I've heard, like, I'm sure you guys have heard, like, network is net worth. Mm-hmm. So it's all about having a huge network of people. How many people can I touch if I post a video on Snapchat or on Instagram or something like that? And the only real way to do that is you got to go out and go through it. Like, you got to go be that lonely guy for a few weeks before you meet somebody. So, like, I've lived in Utah, I've done Colorado, I've done Texas, I've done Illinois, Nebraska, I've Nevada, like, everywhere, Idaho, like, all those places. Like, I know people there to where it's just like, I left the hometown, I got out.
What's the most amount of money you've made in a year?
Shoot, probably 350,000.
Okay. What kind of when did you feel like whenever you're going and grinding it, like a lifestyle change? Because you had some pretty nice toys and stuff.
So it's been hard for me because like I'll admit I was spoiled growing up. Like, if I wanted it, like, my parents were giving it to me. Like, I never had to buy my first vehicle. So, like, I got that luxury of being taken care of my whole life. To be honest, I don't know where my work ethic came from. Because, like, when I say spoiled, it was like, whatever I wanted. If I wanted new shoes, like the Yeezys were popular back in high school, like, they were buying them. Like, they were spending $1,000 to $1,500 on shoes just for fun, basically. So, it's like, I don't know where my drive came from. I have no idea.
When we're talking about like mentors and finding a good mentor, how you like found Joshua, like, what would you say to like people out there who are looking to find a good mentor? Like, what are some good qualities to have that you look for in somebody? Because I mean, on social media, there's it's very easy to just fake it till you make it.
Oh, for sure.
So you can like rant Lambos,
asking the questions, like, that's a really hard thing because you never know what's real and what's fake. You know what I mean? Like, even to this day, like, finding a real mentor, because really, Josh could have been hustling me the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, he could have.
Maybe soon.
He could have been not the guy, but like, he had the one thing is like, one of my mentors taught me men lie, women lie, but numbers don't lie. Like, that's one thing.
The GC.
Josh can't like fake his numbers. Like, he ain't faking being the number one agent in the country, and if he did, he wouldn't be on all the podcasts. He wouldn't have the name that he does if that stuff was fake.
He wouldn't have all the awards and all
But,
that.
like, getting on the call with him, you wouldn't have known, like, who he was. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he was like, I'm the number one agent in the country. This is why you want to work with me. This is why I'm the best. I got this much money in the bank. No, it's not it was very like subtle and just like, yeah, you guys can come work. You know what I mean? It wasn't like anything I'd experienced before. It wasn't like he was selling me on the opportunity. It was like, yo, this guy's got it and he's gonna keep it to
Like
himself.
he wasn't sounding like desperate.
Yeah.
Like, he's not like, I need you to come. No, he was like, if you want,
If you want, come. And that's like when we came out here for the training when we originally moved out here, he was just like, yeah, you guys can move out here if you want. It wasn't like pushy, like it was weird because like everything else in sales is just like, you need to move here, you need to do this, invest this, buy this, get into the no, it was just like he's like, I don't care if you stay out here or not. Like basically the way that I interpreted it is there's like you can either win with me or without me, you know what I mean? And I was just like, dang, this guy's legit. Like, it wasn't like a normal call.
Yeah, that's huge. I have a thing, too, where it's like, and it sucks when you're kind of going through it, but do not make emotional decisions. Either, like, big decisions. Either when you're happy or when you're mad or when you're sad. Like, because, you know, you have to be, think about it, I guess. Not think about it, but not put any emotion into it.
I'm terrible at that. I'm terrible.
I mean, I was terrible at it too, but then
I'm very...
And it sucks, but it's like whether you're going to get a business partner, you're going to buy this thing, or you're going to do that. Like, just think about it for a little bit.
I'm very... like, my mentality is very, like, 100% or not at all. Like, if I'm, like... If I say I'm going to move somewhere, I'm going to do it, like, within the next 3 days or so because I'm not going to give myself time to talk me out of it because I also look at it like... If I would have gave myself the talk out of it from going to, like, starting in door-to-door... If I would have never gone to that first meeting, I would never be where I'm at now. And, like, I could have sat back and been like, I'm going to think about this for a couple of days. Like, should I go? And it was like, no. I was like, I'm going to this tonight. Or whenever I moved, it was just like every time I've moved anywhere, it's just like, hey, we're moving here. And, like, within 2 to 3 days, I'm packed up and I'm on the road. I'm ready to move out. But, like, I also look at, like, how, like, I look at my situation now. Like, if I wouldn't have packed up and moved out here, how much money would that have costed me? Or how much time would that have cost me if I wasn't willing to just sink the ships and move out? You know what I mean? Just go all in and come out here. Everything I've ever done, I never put thought into. Like buying cars, I'm like, yo, I want this car. Like, let's sign the papers, bring it out, let's run it.
What's the next car? What's the next one you're getting? I mean, you got a pretty good paycheck for this last AEP. So what car? What car's the next one?
I don't know. They're gonna have to, I guess, tune in to see. Everybody is. I'm nervous too.
when you talk to like everybody like around you and stuff, like, and then like what's the biggest, I guess, problem do you see that people have? Is it like they're not thinking big enough? They need to like unlock their brain to open themselves up to new opportunities, to more challenges that they could overcome, or is it kind of something else?
Are you talking about like people that I work with, or like recruiting somebody, or like just somebody I work with?
I think someone who's like that you work with, like they're selling, like you're both selling, you guys are both learning from the same guy, but yeah, you're succeeding way more than other people are.
They don't.
I'd say just like we talked about earlier, what I'm willing to give up. It's like I was willing to give up family time. I was willing to give up my nights. I was willing to give up Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Like I gave up every single day, but like I said, like it comes back to like their why. Because, like, not everybody's why could be to get rich. You know what I mean? Some people are okay with, like, $100,000, $200,000 a year in a sales world. Like, that's not a whole lot of money, but, like, that type of money will change a lot of people's lives. You know what I mean? So it's, like, that's my hardest thing is I want everybody to be on my same mentality of, like, let's get freaking rich. Like, I want to make millions. But then, again, like, being in sales for so long, like, I've learned to adjust to, like, yes, I want that. But, like, that's not real. That's not a real thing that can happen. So, like, a lot of people around me, it's just like, how, in a sense, the simple question is how much time are you willing to give up for this? Like, what are you willing to do to get to where I am? You know what I mean? And that's the biggest thing is people aren't willing to give up family time. People aren't willing to give up every single weekend. And it's like, I look at like Elon Musk. That dude, he wasn't bitching. He wasn't complaining. He was peace out, family. Like this is my life now. Saturday, Sunday, sleeping in the office. Jeff Bezos, he was like in a garage sleeping or something. I don't know.
That's where he started. Yeah, that's where he started Amazon, from a garage.
Yeah, so it's like he wasn't bitching about weekends. He wasn't going out and partying on the weekends. And I look at that and I'm like, those are the people I would like. Realistically, if I could, like those are the people I'd want to be around. Like if I could sit at a table, it's like these are the people I want to sit with. Like I want to know, did you think they were going out to dinners on like Saturday nights? And I don't see that happening.
No, I don't think they were.
They're hustling it out.
They're dogging it out. But now I look at what they have. Now it's just like, I'm sure like Elon had friends and Jeff Bezos had friends that were like, hey man, like you're doing great, like chill out, like come out with, and they didn't. Like that was how it was.
Probably got new friends that actually push them. They're like,
Exactly.
oh, you're working the weekends? Cool, dude, so am I, so keep
Keep
going.
it up, bro.
So I think, that's what I was saying. Like, I think, like I said earlier, it's like just having, I mean, it's tough because you're not enough. Like, you want to get out of this group of friends and you want to be part of this group of friends. This group of friends, they're like high performers. Like, they're like, I don't know if I want this freaking guy in my circle. And you're like in that limbo.
Yep.
And that's where it sucks. But that's where you just kind of have to
You got to push through it.
push through it. Yeah.
Or you like listen to what stuff they're saying. You go back to like your buddies who are doing a little bit like not that good. You tell them all this stuff and they're like start talking shit.
Yeah.
Start downing on you and shit.
Yeah.
It's like,
Because honestly,
kind of like hurts the momentum that you're trying to build.
Oh, for sure.
yeah, because honestly, if you're going through it, like, you don't want somebody, like you said, like I talked about it the other day. Like, the worst thing you can tell like someone like us that we want to get after is like, hey man, slow down, man, just take it off. Like,
You're working too hard.
That's like slapping me in the face, bro.
Yeah.
That's
And it's like hard because it's like, damn, am I working too hard? Because then it gets that like in your head, like, damn, should I take the day off? But it's just like, no, like I can't be told, like, if I get talked into going on vacation, I'm like, fuck, dude, now I got to do this. I got to take the day off now.
That's funny.
But I think your circle is definitely the most important part. Like, I don't think I could have made it without like my mom, my girl, my dad, my grandma, like Joshua Youngs and like the whole LPOM team. I definitely couldn't have done it if I like went home and did that, because like if I went to my parents' house, they would have been like, hey, you're working too much. Like, let's go golf, or let's go out in the side-by-sides, or let's do this. And like, really, how are you going to tell your family no, like, when you're there? Like, it's like so hard to do that versus, like I said, I got as far away as I could, and now I'm locked in.
How hard was it adjusting from like, because I imagine like selling like life insurance and stuff like that to selling Medicare, you're selling to like a different clientele. Because Medicare is a bunch of like older generation stuff. Was it kind of hard to make that transition? Because they're from a different generation, they speak a different language.
Or get them to believe in you, because you're a young gun. Honestly, coming in, they're like, what is this guy gonna know?
Right. I don't think it was necessarily hard, but I walked with the confidence. Like like we were talking about earlier, I know that if I would have gone to like the food bank and met clients in person, like if I would have been self-conscious about my tattoos or anything that I was saying, like not confident with what I was saying, I wouldn't have got the clients that I did. But like all sales is speaking with confidence. Like, I'm confident in what I'm talking about, and like really I'm the professional. Like, do you have a license? No? Okay, well I do. So here's how this works. Regardless, I mean, you could be pulling something out of your ass most of the time, but like that's sales. It's just being confident with it. We're being
Being confident, asking the right questions.
Mm-hmm.
Let them talk more, listen more.
Yeah.
And just kind of go through it.
Exactly.
What's been one of your biggest learning experiences, like when in sales though? Like in
Shoot, I don't even know. I'd say the hardest transition was switching from in person to doing virtual. Now I can do any. Now I could do like I could go in person or I could do virtual, but
you were doing more in person first, or you're doing virtual?
well, when I did door to door.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I did door to door, and then I switched over to virtual in insurance, and I was terrible. Sucked at that too. Like similar to when I first started with selling alarms door to door. Terrible for like my first month and a half, or it was probably longer. But same thing when I switched to virtual. I was terrible at it. So that, like, I'd say that was like the hardest thing, was switching from like, okay, I can sell my confidence if I'm right in front of you. How can I create that same selling of confidence over the phone?
Is it because you're not reading body language, like when they're doing? Or, okay.
Movement in your hands, the up and down, like, you know what I mean? Like that sells, versus like virtual. Like realistically, virtual, you still got to shake your head, talk with your hands. Like if you keep doing that, and just stay in character. Then
are you talking virtual like Zoom or just phone?
Both, everything. Okay. If I'm talking on the just over the phone, I'm still moving my hands. I'm talking. I'm doing all of that. If
Still
I'm on
important to
Zoom.
smile because then you can still hear that through the phone.
Yes.
Most times when I'm on the phone, dude, like I cannot be sitting. That's why I have to stand there. I can't be sitting like this trying to do. Like I'm up, I'm walking around, or
Yeah.
at least standing.
Oh,
and
for sure.
And I'm going like, and I'm like this.
Yeah.
And I
You'll,
just like
you'll start walking around, start walking outside even.
Yeah. Oh, I'll walk all over. Like in my first sales job over the phone, like there's people walking up and down the aisles, like staying active, because once you sit down, you lose all that energy that's coming over the phone, your voice and stuff like that. Like we'd play catch while we're talking on the phones. Like we'd do all sorts of different stuff, but like that kept like, it's weird, but like engaged, you know, like it kept that energy high to where it was like, yeah, let's go. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like a, hey man, this is what we're gonna do.
you can tell right when someone just calls you like that, you're like, click.
Yep.
Get out of
Yeah,
here.
who's this guy? This dude hates
I mean,
his life.
especially like other people seeing you around the office doing that.
It,
They're
it
like, oh, shit,
hypes
like,
them
let
up
me
too.
get
Yeah,
going.
then they're like, dang, I ain't gonna let this dude do that. Like, let me get into it. Let me get into it.
So is that like the vibe now that you guys got going on at El Palm? Kind of like, are you kind of like setting the standard in there now a little bit?
Right now,
more
it's
with
a
it,
little
or
bit
with-
slower just because we're in the process of growing. But eventually, yeah, I mean, I want it live.
Yeah.
Like my dream is to have
Wolf of
like.
Wall Street type
That's
stuff.
what I was about to say. That's my dream because like
I'm not living.
realistically, like that's the culture. Like that's
Yeah.
what's gonna make or break your whole sales team. Is like, does my sales team, are they hype up, jumping around, like I got a sale, like hitting a gong, like simple stuff like that. Like that'll grow a team quick.
Yeah, you guys got the bell. So
And it
Yeah.
builds up the culture too.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's like,
And then you only start
I'm
attracting that
very
type of
competitive to where it's like, if this dude rang the bell twice a day and I've only ring it once, I'm like, "Pfft, I'm working late, bro. I'm not losing. I'm gonna ring that bell twice. You know.
So like now you said you like in the sales recruiting stuff. What are you guys looking for recruit? Because are you going to be focused more on the sales side or like recruitment side now? Like for you personally.
I mean, I personally want to bring way more people in. So I'd say recruiting side. I've been through sales, and I mean, this sounds soft, but like I've been in sales for so long and done it so much that now I'm to the point where I just want to help everybody I possibly can. Especially being from my last situation to where I'm at now, I want to do it for everybody. Similar like Josh was like, he's been through the ringer. He's been down to where now he's like, I want to just help as many people as possible, the clients and the agents now, I guess you could say. So my primary focus is fully recruiting.
Yeah. The caveat with that a little bit is when you say like you've been in sales forever and then someone's like they're like 35, they're like you're fucking 24. What do you mean?
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
I haven't got a lot of that because I feel like a lot of people aren't willing to like call me out in a sense. But like
Numbers don't lie.
yeah. Realistically, like I could just be like, my numbers are right here. Like from what I understand, me doing 565 in AEP is like most people's whole career. I'm still pretty new to Medicare, so I can't talk on that a whole lot. But like from what I understand, if the average agent's doing 10 a year, I'm already ahead of that just in January alone. So it's like,
If you could go back in time to like when you first started sales and give yourself a piece of advice, what would that be?
freaking get into Medicare. That's the number one thing, get into Medicare, because out of all the industries I've been in, it's like I've learned so much and I've made a lot of money, but none of it compares to like the Medicare side of things, because the renewals in Medicare is bigger. The commission up front, in a sense, it's smaller than like, for example, life insurance. Like with life insurance, you could sell one in a day and make $2,000, $3,000 in a day. You could sell 5 of those and make, what is that, $15,000 right there. You know what I mean? But the longevity of it and like the long term of it is like the renewal's not there, like to where like you can't, I don't know, like live off of a renewal. In Medicare, you could live off renewal off 1 year technically.
When you say a lot of money, how much is a lot of money? Because like if you guys are a recruitment phase, like someone that's 22, 23, like sometimes a lot of money for people is $5,000, $10,000, $30,000. What's the potential of someone like coming into Medicare that can make like money wise?
I mean, it's just like any sales. I mean, you're not capped, so you can make as much or as little as you want. I'd say, I mean, to me, a lot of money is like making 6 figures in a month, which I did in January off just Medicare. So, I mean, a lot of people don't think it's possible. A lot of people will tell you, oh, it's not possible, or there's some scam. But, like, 9 times out of 10, the people that say that sales is a scam are also the broke people. Everybody that everybody that thinks every opportunity is a scam is usually either broke or corporate. They're not willing to bet on themselves. They're not willing to bet on, here's what I'm capable of. You know what I mean? They're like, nah, that's not real life.
You gotta be very careful who you take advice from.
Exactly.
Like, if you want their lifestyle,
Yeah.
cool, take their advice. If you don't, take it with a grain of salt.
100%.
That's huge. Yeah, I think it's pretty much believing yourself that you can do it.
Yeah.
And then creating a circle of other people that have the same mentality. They're like, let's
100%. And having somebody that's willing to grow with you and not against you, I think that's big too. Like, just like we talked about earlier, like having your family, everything's okay. Like, no, I need to be told, like, yo, you ain't working hard enough. Yeah. You ain't doing enough. Like, step it up type of person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 2025. What's the goal? What's the goal that you're hitting? Like, apps wise, I don't know, money wise. Like, what's the goal for you personally that you're like, this is what I'm chasing?
Number of people helped.
Shoot, I want to make like $500,000 this year. That'd be gangster, making $500,000, because it comes in steps. Like, I could jump on here and be like, I want to make $1 billion, but that's not real. You know what I mean? I'd say making $500,000. I want to bring on and probably change about at least 4 agents a month. That's what I want to bring on. 4 LOA. I'll help you. I'll teach you everything I know. Get your bank accounts full. I want to bring on 4 a month. So what is that? 48.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 48 agents for the year.
Maybe changing some lives for sure.
Yeah.
Making some waves.
That'd be an ideal world, but then it comes down to it of finding that caliber of person that wants to do that. You know what I mean? Like, it comes in steps. So like, I want to, like, okay, you want to make $200,000. Let's do it. Let's make you 500. You know what I mean? Because not everybody wants to make $200,000. Some people are okay with 50 to 70 grand. To where it's like, I want to help people make more than they think is possible. 48 people. So spots are limited.
Spots are limited. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, we'll put all your links in the description. So if people are actually interested, they can reach out, whatever.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hopefully they'll reach out. But yeah, we'll crush 2025 this year. So guys, if you guys found value in this, please share it out. Catch you next time.